Let's talk about those college protests right now. It's really divided the country. It's really been a flashpoint. Started at Columbia, we've seen encampments and protests move nationwide. What do you think this does to President Biden right now? Because they've been going on for about 2 weeks. As we sat here today, just a few hours ago, Columbia canceled their graduation.
Boy, that's going to make parents happy. And you have two related things that are going on. You have these encampments all over campuses, all over the country, and you have sit-ins on the Golden Gate Bridge, on some of the bridges coming into Manhattan. You had them out near O'Hare. And in almost all these districts, you have very left-wing prosecutors, Soros DAs, who don't prosecute anybody. In fact, if they cleared, it's going to be an interesting question, actually, Brittany, about what Alvin Bragg does to the people who've been arrested at Columbia. He's got a huge trial, the first trial ever of an ex-president for what amounts to a bookkeeping error. And he's going to let people who openly backed terrorists, trashed buildings, occupied them without permission, all the rest. He's just going to say, "Oh, well done. See you next fall." So he's got a problem. But I think these two things come together, and they hurt Biden in two ways. They hurt him because, as I said earlier, when there's tumult in the country, people expect the leader in the White House to calm the country. And of course, Joe Biden promised to bring the country together. I wrote a column that appeared today in The Spectator, the English magazine that has a big U.S. website, and said at the University of Alabama, there was one group that was yelling an expletive Joe Biden against him from the left, and another group separated from them yelling the same thing from the right. So I said, he really has brought the country together.
Charles, I actually had that written down. That was going to be my very next point. In these protests, the one point of unity, both sides that you saw, pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian groups, on one campus started chanting F Joe Biden, and that was the only moment of unity you saw between those two groups. So it begs a larger question here. It doesn't seem like either side is too happy with the Biden administration, the president, the White House. And you said this in a recent piece: President Biden is trapped between Israel and Michigan and Minnesota. Can you talk about where he is right now when it comes to his policy in the Middle East?
There's an old Southern phrase that he's caught between the dog and the hydrant on this. For Biden, I think a two-state solution means Michigan and Minnesota, not something about Gaza and the West Bank. But he's got a real problem, and I don't know how he solves it. The vast majority of the country is pro-Israel. The people who say that they're Democrats, according to polling, are less pro-Israel. The only group that's really clearly in favor of Israel are older Democrats, but younger Democrats are substantially more sympathetic to the Palestinians. That puts him in a difficult position because Israel is a real American ally, strategic ally, and a military ally. They have a very high-tech military that cooperates extensively with the Pentagon, developing all kinds of laser weapons and all the other kinds of things that we're developing too, and that they exchange. So if Biden, and plus, it is also the case that Israel is really the anchor of the anti-Iran coalition in the region. That's hard for some of the Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and so forth, to say right now in the midst of the Gaza conflict. But Israel is a key ally. And Biden has been wishy-washy on all of this. The more he leans to appease these younger pro-Palestine voters and campus encampments and so forth, the more he alienates the vast middle of the electorate. The more he appeals to the middle of the electorate, the more he alienates the younger voters. You remember as a kid, Brittany, when you had two magnets and you put the wrong ends toward each other and how they pushed apart? That's kind of what Biden's situation is now.